So mainly then, if you were to prove the 22nd of October, what you would need to do is to know the calendar for 1844, which is not difficult at all to obtain. You may want to go on the internet, on the US Naval Observatory, and check in 1844. And what you will do, just like I did here, you will obtain in 1844 two or three data that I suggest you get. You're going to get the moon phase of 1844. That's one data. Moon phases. I'd like you to get the calendar for March of 1844, the calendar for April of 1844, and then the calendar for October of 1844. So if you could get those four data, if you don't have them, you can get them from me. They're actually on my study that I did on Four Winds publication. Go to the website, Four Winds publication, and it's in the current events. It's a letter addressed to Elder Rodriguez where I give all those data. So the moon phases for 1844 goes like this. In March of 1844, the new moon was on the 19th at 12 o'clock 17. So let me write it down so you'll have an idea of what I'm talking about. It's not complicated, so don't be afraid. But remember, we're being charged for dates here, so we need to prove those dates. And it's very simple. So in March, the new moon was on March 19, according to the US Naval Observatory, at 12:17. So 12:17, that would have been actually, they write here AM. So, all right? So we've got that established. Now, 12:17 AM, then you got to look at April 17 was the next new moon, and that's at 4:32 p.m. All right, let's do a little test. This, don't forget, is always the conjunction. It's not the first crescent. All right? So the conjunction in 1844 in March was March 19. If you remember correctly, we were saying that the Jew and the Catholic ecclesiastical power changed the way of calculating the barley harvest law calendar for simply using the equinox and find the new moon after or on the vernal equinox, and then from there you go to the full moon and you get Passover. Well, in 1844, the new moon conjunction was March 19. Already as it is, it's breaking their rule of a vernal equinox being March 21st, on or after the vernal equinox. But let's work with that. March 19 in 1844 was the conjunction, which means that at the most we calculate about 2 days, 1, 2, or 3 days for the moon to be in a crescent. This is the crescent that we look about, not the conjunction. So that would mean that, say we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and we're going to go 2 days. Okay, we're going to go to the 21st and then we'll do the 22nd. I'd like you to calculate with me if that's going to meet the requirement of the barley to be ripe. 19, 20, 21. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, because there are 31 days in March. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means the Passover, 14 days after the crescent, would have been celebrated on the 4th of April. And we know, according to agriculture, that the barley is not ready in Israel until the 8th of April, which makes it too soon for a new moon conjunction before the vernal equinox to be considered. The Millerite, on the contrary, and the Karaites look at the next new moon as being April 17, and from there they calculated that this was the moon to go with. So April 17 would bring you, say if we go 2 or 3 days later, let's say we go the 20th or the 21st like we did here, 17, 18, 19, let's say it's too much. Let's go the 19th, okay? Then we'll readjust it. I know that according to the Midnight Cry, they kept Passover on May the 3rd. Well, let's go backward and see when the crescent was at that year. Because they were working with the almanac and they were farmers, so they knew their moon much better than you and I. So May the 3rd, we'll go in reverse. May the 3rd. 3, 2, 1. So that takes care of May. April is only 30 days. So let's go 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. Now we need one more day. 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20th. So that would be approximately the 20th that they will place the new moon conjunction, which can happen 2-3 days, I said. So the 20th of April was when they saw the new moon, and they believed that the Passover was May the 3rd, which meets also the requirement because the Passover can never be any later than the 5th of May. And it's hard because we're always thinking about Gregorian calendar, but that's how we do it, we compare it. So this is the puzzle resolved. If the new moon, and I'm going to show it to you on the calendar here that I have. See, this is the US Naval Observatory. It does show the 19 as a new moon, a black moon. So the 19 being earlier than equinox, but then calculating it from, say, a 20th or the 21st, it still brings you way before April 8, so it's canceled. Where the Millerite calculated it from April the 20th, and it brings them to May the 3rd, and the new moon conjunction here shows as the 17th. So it's exactly what they show in their records. So if the new moon, if the new year starts in March, it stands to reason that they did come up with September. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October is the 8th month. So they would have to go back March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's how they came up with September. But if you say it's April, May, June, July, August, September, October, you do come up with an October date. Now, in order to establish when is the 23rd and when is the 22nd, it's very easy. You simply need to have the phase of the moon again for October. The conjunction is the 11th, and we know from their writing that they did have the new moon on the 13th. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 is exactly 10 days. And in September, you do the same thing, and you will come up with the 23rd of September. But because they were 1 month too early, the rabbinical Jew cannot be trusted to tell us when the Day of Atonement was in 1844. So I hope this makes sense. We will be repeating that in the next study with further emphasis on the phases of the moon and everything. But I'd like to have a word of prayer now so that we can stand on those dates. Loving Father, you do reveal to your people when it's time what they need for this time. We know right now there is a new calendar in preparation, which is identical to the Elizabeth Achilles calendar that they wanted so much to push in the 1920-30 era. Oh Father, may we be ready. May we be able to stand this time and not put everything in files and prove that your calendar has nothing to do with the Gregorian Benedictine calendar coming up. It has to do with the barley harvest law, and it has to do, Father, with your beautiful, beautiful moon that you have created us to give us, to appoint this